Hello, and welcome to 10-7 Off Duty Podcast. My name is Andrew Straley, EMTP, and with me is Clyde.
Salutations, fellow humans.
Oh, goody. This is episode... I don't even know. I hope you guys are doing good today.
We're going to get you a whiteboard.
It
Might actually be a good idea. Just like put it next to you and be like, recording episode...
Blah. Actually, it doesn't really fucking matter. Let's be honest. I mean, if they're listening to it this long, then obviously they enjoy it. So,
We're gonna start putting seasons out.
which means you guys need to go on the Patreon and give us $1 or $5 or whatever, and you can get bonus content because we just finished recording some stuff that you probably are not going to hear on this because it's going to be extra. For all of you awesome people who want to give us a couple of bucks to help fund all this shit.
And it's worth it.
It'll
give you nightmares.
Yes. And peeps, please. I don't know if you guys heard it at the end of the last episode, but we are going to be having our t-shirts on sale for $16. So go on and get a hold of us on email or Facebook and Twitter and let us know, and we will send you one, please. Because I need to get rid of these so we can see about doing different ones.
Waffle Stomp.
A waffle stomp.
Come on, guys. If you guys want a Waffle Stomp t-shirt,
It's just going to be a drain.
let us know.
It's going to be, the back of it would be a drain with peanuts stuck in it.
No. I got a better idea.
Okay,
It's going to say when shit gets real, and on the back, it's going to have a Waffle Stomp. Just have some person just stomping their shit on a pile of duty.
All right.
I don't know about that person, but it's definitely going to say when shit gets real,
Okay.
Waffle Stomp.
Right.
Or ask me about my Waffle Stomp, because then you get to explain what it is,
Right.
and you get the joy that I get when I explain it to people.
Yes. And that was like 4 episodes ago, so if you don't get that reference...
Dude, that was 10 episodes ago.
Was it? No.
No
way.
I explained that in my very first episode 17.
17? Damn. All right. Go back to episode 17 and figure out what a waffle stomp is. And be scared. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Other than the waffle stomp, it's brought up something that I wanted to ask you because I was thinking about it the other day. You ever had like a weird fucking nickname when you were growing up?
Yes.
Did you like what was the first nickname somebody gave you?
Peanut.
Peanut?
Yep.
Was that a friend nickname or was that a family nickname?
My cousin Jimmy still calls me Peanut from time to time because when my mother brought me home, that's how she introduced me to him.
This is Peanut.
This is Peanut. And he's 10 years older than me, 9 years older, 10 years older, something like that. And for the longest time, that's all he called me. He did not call me Clyde until actually pretty recently. Like, it's been like the last 5 years or so, he's started regularly calling me Clyde.
So, did you have a nickname that friends gave you? Because I'm talking about like a nickname that either somebody you knew or somebody you met gave you that stuck around for a while that maybe you didn't actually like, but it just ended up being...
Okay, there were 2 nicknames I had when I was on a wrestling team, and one of them I did not like. I accepted it, but I didn't like it. It was Creepy Kid. And the reason they called me Creepy Kid is because I wore all black. I had a leather coat on, and I wore black work boots or combat boots to wrestling practice. That's what I wore every day, was black clothes and black boots. And they called me Creepy Kid because one of the heavyweights decided it was funny to look at me and go, "He looks like the guy that would take pictures of you when you're asleep."
It just sounds like one of the fucking Columbine kids, man.
Yeah.
All right.
And so I don't blame him for thinking I was creepy looking. I really don't, because looking at old pictures of myself, I'm like, wow.
I looked like somebody that was going to come in and shoot up the school.
Actually, as I got older, I started working a job, and one of my old classmates started working there too. And he and I were talking one day, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, we were always cool." And he was like, "You know, a lot of my buddies were bullies," and I was kind of shocked. I was like, "Yeah, dude, I don't think I ever had to deal with a bully." And he's like, "Oh man, that's because everyone thought you carried like a gun or a knife." I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Dude, your head was shaved, you wore all black, and you had your backpack with you everywhere." And I'm like, you know what?
I see where you're coming from.
Looking back, that probably wasn't a good combination.
Looking back at me.
Yeah, like, I wasn't exactly the popular kid, but for some reason, everybody knew my name.
Right.
So that should send up red flags. But it didn't until I got older.
Blissfully unaware.
Yeah, I was blissfully unaware that
Did
people
you just
thought...
say blissfully underwear?
I think I may have.
Okay, all right.
Blissfully unaware that I was basically that guy.
You were the cautionary tale.
Yeah, yeah. Like I was kind of
everybody be nice to him just in case.
I always kind of wondered why I was the only kid that never got in trouble for having his backpack in class.
Nice.
Like,
everyone be nice to him.
I'm pretty sure the teacher was like, you know what? If I don't piss him off, he won't go in it.
Right?
Like,
you know what? That reminds me of something. I don't want to bring this up because John's not here, but his first year roommate in our dorm was that guy.
Oh yeah?
He was the guy that had like the Bud K catalogs delivered to his dorm, and he had this unhealthy addiction to these large ornate knives. So like, and he always wore that t-shirt with the 3 wolves on it and stuff like that, and he always referred to himself as the one-man wolf pack, and we would look at him and go, wolves travel in packs. There's no such thing as a one-man wolf pack. Like, I don't know what this dude's deal was, but he always was that kid that it didn't matter. He never went to any, like, social function or anything. He was always just in his room going through his Bud K catalog, and he had his, like, samurai sword kit hung on the wall and stuff. He was just one of those weirdos.
He had a samurai sword unsheathed on his lap.
Yeah. Licking the blade like, one day, the blood of my enemies.
I actually do kind of have a little bit of an obsession with knives and swords, but it's a little different.
I like good knives and swords.
It's a little different than what you'd think, because I don't have a thing for all those like overly exotic, like
State
way
fair,
too intricate knives, like the one like a dragon on the pommel,
Yeah.
and this one is a gauntlet. And I'm not really into all that shit, but I really like the show Forged in Fire, and I really want to learn how to blacksmith.
I'm talking about like
that shit's cool as hell to me. Like I'm obsessed with like watching videos on people forging those kinds of things, because that's really cool.
I like tactical knives, tactical equipment, something with a purpose.
If it looks cool and it's usable,
right,
that is for me. If it is just way too fucking out there,
if you can buy it at a tent at the state fair, I'm not interested.
If you see it in a fantasy movie, I'm not interested.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna hold you up on that one right there.
You know what I'm talking about.
I want a Batleth from Star Trek, man.
Okay,
the
that's
Klingon
different.
Batleth, yeah,
that's different.
Okay,
that's different.
I'm nerding the fuck out right now.
What I'm talking about are the intricate daggers, even like elves don't use.
Yeah. Okay,
like if that is what your collection consists of, and then you obsess with carrying it on you, no, what are you thinking?
Speaking of people wearing trench coats and random...
I don't remember that part of the conversation.
You said you wore a trench coat when you were...
I said I wore a leather coat.
Okay, whatever. There's this dude that rides a... You know those bicycles that they had in... Oh, shoot. Probably 2008 or something that they made... The Schwinn made that was supposed to look like a motorcycle.
Oh, the choppers.
I think it was a Schwinn Stingray, but it's not the original Stingray that, like the original. There's a dude that has a dragon's head made out of aluminum foil with a headlight that rides this thing all around town. Like in the big town near us. And wears a...
Hey, man. Don't you disrespect his hustle.
I don't know he's the kind of guy that I expect would have all those intricate elven knives.
Yeah. Like, if you have an authentic blade, sword on your back. When I say blade, I'm talking about like Wesley Snipes.
Right, Blade Trinity stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you have his sword and you carry it, I don't want to have a conversation.
No,
with
you talk to me. I'll throw a quarter at you and run away.
Like, now, if you have it and it's like hanging on your wall at home because you're like obsessed with Blade and like that's just your thing. Like, that's pretty cool that you have that as a decorative item, but don't carry it around on your back.
Right,
God damn it.
Nobody thinks you're that cool. Sorry.
Nobody thinks you're really slaying vampires, dude.
Right.
Everybody thinks that you think you're slaying vampires.
Right, but that's just the crack. So, I had something else I was going to say about that, but it's completely gone now. Back when I was a kid, like probably 10 or 11, I was a fat kid, man. Like, I was really just a chunky little pudgy bastard back in the day.
I was literally skin and bones, so I was the opposite.
We could have traded, like, at least half and half, whatever. But we used to, like, have this thing where we would meet a whole bunch of people at the ice skating rink in the wintertime. Okay. So we would, like, it would be me and like a few other people that I knew, and then just a whole bunch of just random other kids there. Well, me being the pudgy, chunky little bastard that I was, and having no style sense because I was 11 years old, usually whenever I'd go skate, because I just didn't give a fuck, because I grew up on a farm and I was like, clothes are just to cover my naked body, who gives a fuck? I had a bright red sweatshirt, just like regular sweatshirt that I would wear whenever I'd go ice skating. So they gave me the nickname Kool-Aid, and I fucking hated that nickname.
I don't mean to laugh.
That
man.
And you know what? I fought it for like a good 2 weeks, and then I was just like, fuck it, whatever. I am now goddamn Kool-Aid. That was my first nickname.
You were asking for trouble with that one, man.
I know. I didn't want it, but I asked for it.
I mean,
and I got it.
They could have gone with a couple of different ones though, like
I guess,
Kool-Aid or Fat Albert.
Right.
He wore a red sweater all the time.
Hey.
Yeah.
But honestly, out of the two, Kool-Aid was acceptable. You know, I think I went by that for a long time, and yeah, I was a little pudgy fat bastard for a long time, and then I think when I was like 12 or 13, I was like, I gotta lose weight because I look like a fat fuck. So yeah, that's I started dieting and like eating better and stuff, and fucking salads like 7 days a week and shit.
I actually refused to wear a shirt as early as I can remember.
You were just the naked kid?
No, just a shirt. I was always shirtless up until actually recently, and the only reason I say recently is because now I throw a shirt on in the morning, and then I'm go.
Right.
And I'm always in public.
Yeah.
And now when I say public, I mean places where it's mandatory to have a shirt. Work, the store,
you know what's
bank,
really funny? They
stuff
always
like
say
that.
no shirt, no shoes, no service, but they don't say anything about pants. So I wonder. Somebody try that out. Let us know how it works.
Fuck yeah. But yeah, I never wore a shirt ever. My best friend actually makes fun of me about that all the time, because there was a long time where everywhere we went, I would just have my shirt stuffed in my back pocket, and if we went into like Walmart, throw it on real quick. As soon as we walk back out, I'd hand him my bag, take it back off, stuff it in my pocket, take my bag back. Like,
yeah.
Why? I'm like, because why am I going to wear a shirt if I don't have to?
Right. Actually, to be honest, and I know this is really fucking stupid, and people are probably going to say something about this, or send us emails about this, but my favorite thing in the summertime when I'm on the bike is I just take my shirt off and fucking stick it in my tour pack and just ride without a shirt on, because I'm like, it's a free tan.
And seeing that,
but I'm also a hairy fucker too, so it already looks like I'm wearing a sweater anyway. So
oh, hey, speaking of Walmart, I have something to tell you.
Oh, good.
Do you remember a couple episodes back when we were talking about that grandmother in the power chair?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the
granddaughter right behind him. Mm-hmm. The train of sadness is what I want to call it. Did you find them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They were dicks, right?
Not grandma.
No, well, grandma was fine.
Grandma was actually kind of a sweetheart, because she happened to be parked right in front of where I was trying to get my body wash that I use.
Right.
She was parked right in front of it, and I was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, can can I grab that real quick? She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, dear. And she pulls forward and she lets me grab it. The granddaughter, though, holy shit, dude. Like, she is the definition of obnoxious.
And she has no reason to be in one of those motherfuckers.
No, she does not. She does not.
I hope it burns out one day and she's just stuck with all of her shit in the cart and she can't go back and get another one because she's just a dick.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I have another nickname that I got in my first job because my last name's Straley. So they used to call me Stray Dog. And that actually carried over into the last job that I had, too. Because my partner's name was Dick. That was the Marine. So literally they called our car Stray Dick.
Stray Dick?
Mm-hmm. It's like, Stray Dick's running around town! That was a good time. Have you gotten any nicknames at work? Like either CO or past CO?
It's called RoboCop a lot. And I really don't know why, because I was not that strict.
Really?
I really wasn't. Like, I know some of the stories I tell sound like I was kind of a hard ass, but no, I really wasn't. I was actually very lenient with the rules. There were just a certain set of rules that were just kind of, they personally irk me if somebody couldn't follow them.
Right.
Like having your ID on. Like, seriously, if I can't get into the prison without my my badge on, or if I'm not leaving my house on my wallet, you can remember to put your fucking ID on if you're walking out of your goddamn room.
I mean, what is it, like 6x6 space? It's hard to miss things in there.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're coming into the common room, put your goddamn ID on your sleeve. You know where it's supposed to be.
Right.
Like, or yelling. I'm going to be 26 at the end of the month, but I'm an old man in a young man's body. I do not like loud unless it's intentionally supposed to be loud, like loud music, stuff like that.
Right.
But I don't like unnecessary yelling.
Right, yeah.
There's no need for it. So if I'm trapped inside of a room that's literally only like 150 feet by 50 feet.
I feel like that granddaughter would be intentionally allowed for no fucking reason. I'm just saying. Just personally.
She absolutely would be.
Okay, all right.
That's why I said she's a definition of obnoxious, because I heard her from 4 aisles away.
Right.
And I mean, this was Black Friday.
Oh,
Yeah, so...
Why the fuck were you even trying to go anywhere on Black Friday? Fuck that shit.
It's our only shopping day is Fridays, and we just happen to be Black Friday.
I would have intentionally skipped that day. I would have been like, nope, fuck it, I'm out.
We didn't even have dinner.
Oh.
Like, we needed to go shopping. But, yeah, if I'm in a 150-foot by 50-foot room, and I can hear the conversation from 40 feet away from you that you're having with the person 4 inches from you, you are not talking. You are yelling.
And it was about cucumbers in a women's prison. So
Good
get that.
God. I will say that there are a few inmates that if they were loud and then suddenly they weren't,
You knew something was wrong.
something was up. And that's actually one thing they hated about me, is because
You fucking walk up, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm very quiet. I'm a quiet walker. That's one thing they hated. Especially the only way they could hear you is my keys, because my keys would just jingle. I would hold my keys and do rounds from time to time. Not very often, just enough so that way
You could catch them doing
I
something.
would catch them doing shit.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, like and they hated it because they'd be like, "We didn't even hear you." Well, that was the point.
That was the fucking point, motherfucker.
Like,
You're in jail for a fucking reason, okay?
well, I would actually tell them, I'm like, listen, here's the thing. Either get so good at breaking the rules that I don't catch you, or stop breaking the rules.
Right? Yeah.
Those are your options.
Simple.
Like,
easy fucking peasy, man.
like, either get so good that I can't catch you, and then it's my problem,
Yeah.
or just stop doing it. Because if you don't, it's your problem every time.
You know what my biggest fucking, my biggest bitch? Patients that call 911 and you show up at their house, and from the time that they walk out of their front door to the time you get to the hospital, they're either texting or calling somebody on their phone, and you can't talk to them because they're just like, oh yeah, no, so I'm on the way to the hospital and I have to blah, 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 blah. I'm like, can you hang up the phone so I can talk to you? Oh, just give me another minute. I'm like, I have a minute out from the hospital. Can I just?
And I've got no information on you. What am I gonna do when I get there?
Right, exactly. At least tell me how old you are and what the fuck I showed up for. Like, obviously, you could have gotten in a car and done that.
Right.
Like, whatever.
Instead, you wanted to get yourself charged $9,000.
Well, Medicaid will help a lot with that because they. Yeah. The other thing I really hated was the ones where you would show up in front of the house and there's 8 fucking cars there, and I would make it a point to be an asshole
To block as many as you can in.
Oh no, because I knew that nobody that was living there was going to move any of them anyway. What I would do is, as I'm walking up, I would turn around and yell to my partner as loud as I could, "Man, it must suck to have this many cars and no gas!" And it was always the people that were calling for nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea that would always have 8 cars in their driveway. I'm like, so literally you just don't want to shit or puke in your own car. That's the reason why I'm here. You're not dying. You're fine. So whatever.
I got one for you. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are there any words, just words that the sound of them you cannot stand?
Moist.
I was actually just gonna use that example. Like most people cannot stand.
Don't like moist. Panties is another one that like weirds me out just a little bit.
Honestly, you know what one that just it makes me kind of gag a little bit every time I hear it?
What's that?
All right, now for women out there, I'm about to say this, and it is nothing
if
against...
If it's clitoris,
no.
We're going to have issues.
No.
Okay, all right.
No, it is nothing against a woman that is pregnant. It's not.
Mucus plug.
That is exactly...
Yeah! I got it!
The word mucus plug.
And Clyde is visually gagging right now. I know you can't see it, but
the word
the thing
mucus plug is just so disgusting. I know what it is. I know that is pretty much a necessity.
Like it is a medical term.
Like when you're going into labor, I know the mucus plug it dislodges, I guess would be the correct term.
Mucus plug dislodges before the water breaks.
Yes. And I know that there is actually a reason for what it is. I know what the term means. I know everything about it. Like,
it's the beauty of birth.
And like it's nothing against, it's just the sound of the word.
Let me just put this out there as someone who has delivered 3 so far in the field.
None of them are his.
None of them are mine ever.
And that's why.
I have to ask the questions. I always, has your water broke, mucus plug dislodged, blah blah blah. They call it the beauty of birth or the miracle of birth. There is no beauty involved in that whatsoever. It looks like a ham that's been dropped on a barbershop floor coming through
the beauty,
a cat door.
From a father's point of view,
yeah.
The beauty is the fact that you are watching something you created being born. Like, my son came out of the womb with my wife's resting bitch face. And he was still the most beautiful baby I have ever seen in my life. Like, he was beautiful. And by the way, I'm just going to say this.
Once it comes out, it's fine, but it's the whole process in between.
I already told the story. I didn't handle that well.
Right.
I did not handle that whole situation well at all. Every time you see a movie where the baby's being born, the doctor just gingerly takes the baby out. It's wrapped in a blanket.
That's bullshit.
It's handed to the mother. Like, it's a beautiful bouncing
and
baby
it's clean
boy.
As fuck.
And
no, it's not.
That shit doesn't happen. And I don't know if what happened to me is common. I shouldn't say me. It was really my wife, but I was there. Baby comes out. He grabs it by the ankle. Umbilical cord gets snipped. He just kind of like dropped my son on my wife's chest. Like, it was just like, here's a salmon. like honestly, like the whole action, I'm not gonna lie, for like 40 seconds I was like, this motherfucker about to get his ass whooped.
Oh no. See,
like,
that's the thing is, Doctors do this every day. With me, I was more like, if I drop this motherfucker, he ain't gonna bounce. So
No, and see, like, he just kind of like dropped him on my wife's chest, and of course she was starstruck right away. Like, my wife's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm still in. I'm about to knock this doc's teeth down his throat. He just dropped my son, not thinking.
They need to have the cry response, so they're going to stimulate as much as possible.
Yeah. Well,
and
as soon as she started talking to my son,
babies are not. They are not as fragile as people make them.
Babies are not made out of porcelain.
They bend very well. Trust me.
That could not have sounded worse. It's just like they're like Gumby.
No, their bones have not formed yet. They're still slightly gelatinous. That's the thing about babies is people are so scared about, if I put them down too hard, I'm going to break it. No, you're not. I'm not.
Don't spike your baby.
I'm not. Yeah,
Do not spike your baby.
Abuse it. I'm just saying most new parents are way too like, we have to have a four-wheel shocks on our baby carriage so that way if we hit a bump it's not going to break everything. So it's fucked up, but it is what it is, you know. Have you seen some of those? Like, I don't know, like back when I
think we talked about this one a couple weeks back with John, like the like over baby proofing everything.
Oh yeah,
like Nerf doorways and stairs and
I remember
bubble wrapping the cat, like all that shit. Like,
yeah, my parents had kept my first like baby carriage that they had after I was born in 1988. It was still like that old school, like completely aluminum, kind of looked like a cradle-ish. They have ones now that have shocks on all four wheels.
I think mine technically does, but the stroller we got my son,
yeah,
the only reason we ended up paying a little extra and getting that one is because it had all the bells and whistles. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
It came with like the baby carrier.
Yeah.
That you could put directly into the car and belt that down.
Yeah.
And then it could attach directly to the stroller itself, and then
so that just makes things easy.
Yeah. And that's why we didn't get it because it had shocks and because the rubber the wheels were actually had inner tubes and shit like that. We didn't get it for all that shit. We got it
cost more than my first car did.
No. We got it because we knew that if we would have bought each thing
individually,
it would have cost way fucking more than to just get this one thing that's going to cost a little bit more than a regular stroller.
Right.
But way less than each step of the way.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. But then again, I remember, like when I was growing up, like everything was not only cheaper, but I'm pretty sure that my first car seat was made out of ABS plastic, like a like a shitty motorcycle helmet. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't anything special. Like I remember I remember laying up in the back deck of my dad's like '85 Chevy Caprice at some point. You know what I mean? Like driving down the road, like right above the speakers.
Is that the earliest vehicle you remember ever riding in?
No, actually, the earliest vehicle I remember riding in was my dad's '76 Ford F-100 Ranger pickup truck with 35-inch tires lifted. All steel. Like, there was nothing. If you got in a wreck, number one, the truck was going to come out on top because in '88 everything else was made shitty compared to that.
Yeah.
But number two, if something did screw it up, your ass is getting hurt because it had lap belts and a steel dash. There was no safety features.
I wish my grandmother had something that cool. The earliest vehicle I remember riding in was like an 80s model Dodge Omni.
Oh God!
Yeah, it's
the little tiny motherfuckers.
Yeah, Yeah, it was basically a gremlin with 4 doors.
Right, yeah, but not as cool as a gremlin.
No,
Gremlins were cooler than that.
They were like the knockoff gremlin. Like, have you ever seen some of like the souped up versions of Dodge Omni? Like
no.
people evidently they buy old Dodge Omnis and they were souping them up, and they were actually pretty cool looking. Like they were kind of like knockoff versions, cheaper versions of the Gremlin.
The Gremlin made a fantastic drag car
And
because they
see-
were fucking light and they could take a big block.
Yeah, the Omni couldn't. I don't
No,
think.
no, definitely could not.
I remember it actually. You got rust all over the the roof of it. And my grandmother was like, "It's okay. I'm just gonna rattle can it. I'm gonna spray paint it."
Right.
And she ended up going to the not dollar store. She ended up going to the store and getting a can of spray paint. Well, she didn't match.
Oh,
The
no,
blue.
of course not. No.
And so she had this like light baby bluish Omni with like these really dark royal blue navy-ish spots on it.
And that's the shitty thing about rust is if you don't sand it down, it's going to come back anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to have an accidental
Yeah.
sunroof.
Oh my god! And that woman taught me everything I need to know about taking care of a car. Yep.
All right.
I just do the exact opposite of everything she ever
Yeah,
did.
exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I love my grandmother with all my heart, but long story short, my father, who I didn't really meet until I was 19, but he ended up working on her vehicle when I was young.
Right.
And after I met him, he was telling me a story about that vehicle. He's like, honestly, I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did, because it didn't finally burst into flames, literally burst into flames, until I was like 9. And she had it the entire time she was raising me. And he was telling me that he was the mechanic that worked on it one time, like years before it burst into flames. And he's like, yeah, that thing was, she brought it in because she's having problems with it. And I looked at it, did a once over on. I'm like, okay, this thing hasn't had a fucking tune up in 10 years. And it hasn't had a tune up in 10 years. It's got no oil in it at all. Like, it is beyond metal on metal in the brake pads. Like he was like, it's literally, it's being held together on hopes and prayers.
Spit and duct tape.
Yeah.
Man.
He's
That's all
like,
it's operating
he's like,
on.
seriously, everything about this vehicle screamed junkyard.
Right.
He's like, I put over $1,000 into it, getting it to the point where it should be.
A $2,500 Omni got $1,000. It's like,
It was not $2,500.
okay, all right.
$2,500 off the line.
I was being nice. I was being nice.
No, I actually have pictures of that thing, and like looking back, I'm looking at it like, God fucking damn.
I'm
Cars,
survived.
cars I spent $300 on to beat the shit out of. I look better than this damn
Right,
thing.
yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, I've traded for cars that, like, I'm surprised at how good they are. You know what I mean? Like, looking.
Here's another blast from the past. You want to know what my first car was?
What?
1991 Geostorm GSI.
Oh, God, I was going to say Metro.
No.
Fuck.
No, I got the cool version. I got
All
the coupe.
right.
I got
Yeah.
the Metro is actually my best friend's first car.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he got the Geo Metro, but this was after Chevy bought it because it had the Chevy symbol in there.
Yeah.
Mine was pre-Chevy purchase.
Oh.
Yeah,
Still
so it was
sucked,
just,
though.
It was just the Geo and Geo Metro GSI. It was 4-cylinder stick.
Was the GSI the one with the turbocharger? No.
Turbo option.
Okay.
Because they
All
made
right.
this the standard, which is a 4-cylinder, and then there was like the 4-cylinder turbo or something like that.
Right, yeah,
Turbocharged
uh-huh.
4-cylinder. But honestly, if I would have gotten that thing up and running, it would have been actually a sweet little vehicle. But I mean, there was so much shit wrong with that thing. It was a hatchback 2-door. I actually kind of miss it because I drove it once. It's actually pretty cool.
You drove it
But-
once and it broke back down.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I fucked that car up though because I drove it trying to teach myself how to drive a stick, and
Did you fuck the clutch up?
No, even worse. When I bought it, evidently it didn't have any oil in it, and I never even thought to check it. 'Cause I
Oh,
was only
shit,
like
dude.
fucking 16 or 17. I didn't think, okay, hey, this car might not have oil in it, dude. Do you realize how many dealerships I go to get pissed when I check the oil? And I'm like, you don't know what I've done to myself, sir.
Oh man, I've seen.
I check everything
I
now.
like I said before when I was working at the dealership doing building maintenance stuff. I saw certain people that were, I don't know if they were just having a bad day or inept, But they would send a car out after being serviced and forget to put oil in it. Or forget to put transmission fluid back in.
Are you serious?
Oh, yes, totally.
All right, here's one. The worst thing that I ever did was, or what I ever bought was, I bought a pickup truck, and I love that pickup. It was a 99 GMC Sierra. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. My
not a GM guy, not a Chevy guy.
I know, I know you're not, but I love that truck. And my older brother actually has it now. I ended up trading it to him, and he still drives it. And, and that's been a couple of years since I traded it to him. But I was driving it one day, and the yoke in the U-joint underneath busted.
Right.
Completely dropped the drive shaft.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
dropped it. When I brought it to a buddy's house, and because he's a mechanic, he was going to show me how to fix it, because I had no idea what to do at this point. I was at a loss for words. I was very limited on car knowledge at the time, and then I saw that, and I was like, "Yep, I got nothing for this one." Anyways, he's under there, and he's like, Clyde, what?
Nothing good can come of this.
You need to come down here right now. I'm like, why? And he's like, I can't explain this. I get under there. The bolts that hold the U-joint onto the yoke,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they were snapped prior to me buying it, and they were held together by JB Weld.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I bought it from a dealership. Like,
yeah, okay.
I'm like, what the?
There are. Here's the thing about me is I have rarely ever bought any vehicle from a dealership. I have bought one of my vehicles directly from a dealership, but it was the one I was working for. So it's the Mach 1 that I've got, the Mach 1 Mustang. But the thing is I had wanted one since I saw them. Like, I remember in 2004 seeing like that they were coming back out with it, and I was like, or 2003, I was like, oh my god, they're coming back out with a Mach 1. It's got the shaker hood scoop. It's got the Cobra engine in it. I've got to get one of these. I want one so bad. Well, fast forward till like 2009, and somebody had traded it in for an import, a used import, and some other small economy car. And I got it for a fucking steal, because that was the one good thing that I loved about working at the dealership was I had to only pay $500 over what it was traded in for. So
Really?
yeah. And even better than that was if I got a hold of it before it went through the service department, I didn't have to pay anything that they were going to put into it. So like I would go through the back lot and drive around and see what I could find that I was interested in, and I would just pick it up for $500 over what they had into it. So I got it for a fucking steal. And honestly, seeing cars roll out without oil or transmission fluid in them before, and then them having to replace things, and seeing some of the people that worked in these places, I'm like, I don't really want you guys working on this thing before I get it. Like, I'll just take it home and do everything myself. So bought it, took it home, did a full tune-up myself and all that stuff. And the cool thing was, the other interesting thing about the place that I worked was, they actually sold all of the police cars, the Chevy police cars, to the police departments around. So whenever they would get the trade-ins back, like, so say a police department would get a new cruiser for someplace or whatever, they would always leave stuff in there.
Yeah.
Like wigwag boxes, cages. I actually, sitting at my parents' house, have the complete dog cage for a Chevy Impala.
Really?
Just because they didn't want to fuck with it. Like they couldn't resell it unless it was put back to stock, and I was like, I'll stay over and I'll take this stuff out if you let me keep whatever I find that I want. So I would get mag lights. I would find what are those Zippo lighters? I would find those like under the seats.
Man, I love Zippos.
Yeah,
Zippo lighters are top tier, man.
I used to have an early '50s brass one that I found in one of them, and then I lost it. Yeah, I was so pissed. And then yeah, wigwag boxes. I
Being
would find,
a former smoker, man.
yeah.
Holy shit, dude! No, man. Like,
I still keep my.
I got a little bit of a chub for a thought of a decent Zippo. Still,
Oh, I still my lucky Zippo I keep in the truck. It's a Jack Daniel's Zippo with the
yeah.
I love that thing. I never use it. It doesn't have any fluid in it, but and then you would be surprised how many times I would find like the early before they had LEDs. It would be like a halogen red blue flasher or something like that. Man, I can't tell you how many of those like bulbs that I used to find in those old cars and shit like that. It was fun. But yeah, I do not buy cars from dealerships just because 9 times out of 10 I don't trust what a dealership does just to get rid of something.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I'm actually there's actually only one in town that I still somewhat trust, and that's only because I've done extensive research on them before. I haven't even bought anything from them yet,
Right.
but I did research on them because next time I get a car, that's probably where I'm gonna get it from, and they're the only one that is actually rated with the Better Business Bureau.
Really?
Yeah, they got an A+ rating.
No shit.
So,
I'll have to
yeah,
ask you about this
only
when we're
one.
done.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you anything you want to know. There is something I wanted to bring up because I sent it to you in a message the other
Okay.
day. What do you think about that story coming out of Brisbane?
Are you talking about the dude that?
No.
You gotta have to tell me. You have to tell me.
Brisbane, Australia. They're trying to build a crematorium 100 feet from a retirement home.
Hey man, I'll be really honest. We're keeping people alive way too long these days. So maybe that'll just like give them the little push that they need
Okay,
to just accept it.
I read it and I felt bad for the retirement home.
Right.
I really did. And for the people that live there. But at the same time, the dark side of my sense of humor came out, and I just couldn't help but to laugh through the entire article because how fucked up it really just sounds.
Well, I mean, like I said, man, maybe the old people on that side they'll just switch. Like, all right, so the side of the building facing the crematorium will all see it and be like, Jesus, take the wheel. It's my time. And then once those guys are all gone, they'll just switch to the other side. Like, they'll just move everyone from the other side of the building to that side of the building. And, Jesus, take the wheel so they can rotate people out, Because that's the thing that I don't get. And I'm sure a lot of people out there that are listening to this have seen this too, especially the EMS side, is families in particular, they try to hold on way too long.
Yeah, I have noticed that with like certain things where, you know what, if you're being kept alive by machinery,
that's part of it, but there's other parts of that too that a lot of people don't think about. And the other thing that people don't think about is there was one person I can vividly remember that I would transport weekly to the hospital that was 89 years old, bilateral below the knee or above the knee amputations, so no legs. She had dementia to the point where she didn't speak at all. And the only reason she kept getting sent to the hospital is because the family couldn't let go enough to give her a DNR. So they were literally they would visit her one day, find something little wrong, and send her to the hospital to try to get that fixed. And it's like, 89 years old, she can't speak, she can't think, she just drools on herself, and she has no legs. Why are you guys keeping her alive?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sad part. I'm one of those people that's, I've seen the good and the bad of, different retirement facilities. Mm-hmm. But my thoughts on that are, do you really want to keep somebody alive who can't do anything for themselves? Do you really want to keep somebody alive who has no quality of life whatsoever except for getting spoon-fed applesauce 3 times a day? Or are you willing to just say, you know what? Grandma's had her life. Let's let him go.
See, coming from somebody who actually did watch Alzheimer's completely dismantle, their grandmother's everything.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually told my wife, I'm like, if I get that bad, don't bring me back.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Like, just don't. Oh, well, okay. To be completely fair, I told her, I was like, if I get that bad, put a bullet in my head.
Right.
But you get what I mean. Like, toward the end, she couldn't even communicate. Like, because I went to go see her as much as I did, I could still understand what she was saying.
Right, yeah.
For the most part. But there were days when I would have to just sit there and just be like, I've got no idea what you're trying to say right now. Or trying to pantomime. And it really does break your heart, because not only is it frustrating for you as the family, they still have some semblance of who they are, what's going on in their head.
Certain
can't,
days
they just can't physically represent it. So
it's almost like a Control-Alt-Delete for the human brain.
What I'm saying is, how do you think it feels for them?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like
early stages, yes.
I was to say, there is still some semblance, even in my opinion, even through all the way to the end, where they know subconsciously that things are not going the way they should be for them. And so imagine how heartbreaking and frustrating it is for them, especially in early stages, like you said, where they still are very lucid, at least on the inside.
They'll have good days. Early stages through mid stages, they'll have good days and bad days. Some days they'll be completely lucid and know exactly what's going on and can communicate with the family and all that stuff. And then they'll have that bad day where they can't remember who they are, where they are, what year it is, all this stuff. But then that's the shitty part, is it progresses so quickly. And in some people it progresses even more quickly they just, it could be 2 months and they can't remember who they are half the time. That's the shitty part, you know what I mean? Because I've seen a whole lot of people, and not funny, because this isn't really a funny thing, but funny to me, is there was one person that I vividly remember at one of the nursing homes that had Alzheimer's, and this was her day. She would go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. That was, and every time me and my partner at the time would walk past this room, we'd just join in. It would be like,
man, that's a little fucked up, man.
But it was one of those things where she was just like sitting on her bed, and she'd just be like bobbing back and forth and singing this little song, and it's like, well, that's sad, but
hey, you know
that's
what?
Fucking funny.
She kept the music alive in herself, man.
Yes, she did.
Like, if nothing else, she had something she loved that she kept up till the end.
Totally.
It's messed up.
I know, right?
Okay, the other one
that I
sent to you.
Which one?
There was a guy that was arrested for a DUI?
Yeah.
He was arrested for a DUI because he drove off the road.
Oh, wait. Before you start into this one, I'm going to go back to the whole crematorium thing, because I have a funny story about a crematorium.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So, I think I told this story a couple of times, but I did not tell the rest of the story. There was somebody around here that was 768 pounds trying to get down to the weight that they could go on my 600-pound life, that we would transport to the hospital.
They're trying to lose weight
constantly.
A show about losing weight.
Right. Well, the reason why they were doing that was, A, they wanted the money, and B,
they wanted to lose weight.
They couldn't fucking get on a plane unless they got down to the weight, because that show would not take them. And let's be honest, 768 pounds in a seat, that plane is just going to list to the right the entire time. It's just going to circle. But the shitty part was,
real big circles.
This person passed away. And at the time, because they were such a frequent flyer, the person that responded got over the radio and said, SS Ton of Fun's down!
No.
And there were cheers across the... Yeah. So that's shitty. But the funny part was the fire department had to be called because they couldn't shove her into the crematorium. Like, they got her part way, and then she got stuck. They couldn't bring her back out or push her back in, and they'd already started the crematorium. So they literally had to call the fire department to shove the rest of it in with tools.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
I know.
Oh.
Anyway, that's my crematorium story.
That's messed. And honestly, it's nuts when you think about it, because there are athletes that are about that size when you think about it. Okay.
Not
Did you ever
really.
watch wrestling?
Like
WWE. WWF.
ish. I've seen some, just not like
Big Show?
religiously.
The Big Show?
Yeah.
Before he started losing weight, he was over 500 pounds.
Yeah, but
Viscera?
he's tall. I'm talking
He's
about somebody.
7 feet tall, exactly.
I'm talking about somebody who is 5'6".
Well, I'm saying, like, when you think about it, like, I'm 6 foot tall.
She was taller laying down than she was standing up.
Like, I'm 6 foot tall. I weigh 160 pounds. Now, there's some guys, like some athletes like that are just humongous. Like, I could not picture myself being 7 feet tall and over 500 pounds.
Right.
I couldn't. And then there are guys like Viscera. I don't know how many WWE fans we got out there, but if you remember Viscera,
It's still real to me, damn it.
Big Daddy V, as he went by for a little while there. That dude, he was only like 6'3" or something like that, and he was every bit of 500 pounds.
There's a
more.
There's a difference between muscle weight and...
Oh, Big Daddy V was not muscle.
Oh, really?
No.
What about Butterbean?
Butterbean? Butterbean was
Butterbean is huge.
He was a heavyweight boxer.
Right, exactly.
And I want to say heavyweight
but
boxing,
he does not.
They have a cap. I want to say they have a cap. And
do they?
I want to say they do. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I mean, that'd be the only way I could think it'd really be fair.
Right.
Because, I mean, if you're a heavyweight boxer and let's say the minimum is 285 and there's no cap on it, well, then
you're
some
getting into
freaking
sumo
nature.
wrestling.
Yeah, some freak of nature steps in the ring that's 410 pounds solid muscle. You're just like, what the fuck? Like,
This isn't working out well in my favor.
like this would be like me fighting a lightweight. Like, sign me up for that shit. There was actually a Grand Prix tournament a while back that it proved that size does not matter. It was a Grand Prix tournament where it means that weight classes don't exist.
Okay.
Like, anybody can fight anybody. It's like kind of like a round robin almost.
Okay.
And the guy, one of the fighters, was, I want to say, like 6'5" and weighed like 300 pounds. And the person he was fighting was like 5'10" and 185 pounds, like just muscle.
Right.
But the bigger guy, he obviously had a way stronger punch, but
The little guy was quick.
he was quick and he had way better technique because he didn't have a size to rely on.
Yeah.
And it ended up coming down to the point where the big guy actually got a hold of him for about a second, was on top of him. As soon as he wiggled his way out, the big guy couldn't get up, and he just was raining fists down on his head.
I'm going to be the first to admit, I am not a sports guy.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a sports guy unless it's auto sports. Like,
Okay.
I can build you a motor that'll go down the track in 10 seconds, quarter mile. I can build you a car that can take a road track, at 60 miles an hour at a 90-degree hairpin. But I am not like a huge. I don't watch football unless it's college football. I mean, because
Right.
college football, in my opinion, they keep up with. They're more worried about.
Well, they're still hungry.
Yeah, they're still trying to get their feet. They
yeah.
want to win, but
Exactly.
you've got these guys in NFL that are multi-million-dollar contracts.
Well, the way I look at it
blah.
is like when you're in college or when you're in high school, you have a couple of athletes that are really, really good. And they end up going to college. Well, if they go to college on a football scholarship, there are still only a small percentage of them that are like, hey, you know what? I actually have the ability to get in the NFL. And luckily enough, sometimes you have teams that play and they know I only have 4 years to impress somebody well enough to make it into the big time.
Right, yeah.
After that, first couple of years, in my opinion, for most professional football players, fucking stunning. They really are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then after a while, they kind of get complacent.
This is the other thing that I see too that I wish that I didn't see. Seems like a lot of these people that go on like football scholarships, like the big old jocks and stuff, that are like, I want to play professional football. They don't give a fuck about their actual classes. The only thing they care about is playing football. So that way, whenever they get to NFL and then they get like a career-ending injury, they have nothing else to go on.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of MMA fighters. Mm-hmm. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. There's a percentage of MMA fighters. I really don't know what size it is, but they surprisingly there are quite a few that have college degrees.
Really?
Yeah, and it's because they ended up going to college on a football or Rampage Jackson. Have you ever heard of him?
I think so.
He actually ended up going to college on a wrestling scholarship.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them, well, at least early days, I don't know how much that holds over anymore. A lot of them were getting into MMA after they got out of the military from Iraq and Afghanistan, and
Randy Couture.
They had that like history of they were taught how to fight dirty, so they would just get into MMA because they're like, it's not boxing. Like, I don't have to stand up for 7 rounds. I just got to knock this motherfucker out as quick as I can.
Yeah.
You know?
Randy Couture was a freak of nature because he was in the military for 15 years.
Right. Yeah.
He didn't actually start fighting, like practicing MMA until I want to say he was 33.
Right.
And now I want to say he's close to 50, if not 50, and he's still fighting, which is really impressive. Now, that actually brings me around to something else I brought up to you.
But this is all, like, Randy Couture, too. I mean, you got to think, he got out of the military, and he still had a good enough physical ability.
At 50 years old, I guarantee he could whoop my ass and any of my friends' asses.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
He is a freak of nature. Like, that dude he's born out of time. If he would have been born a couple thousand years ago as a gladiator, he would have fit right in.
Well,
he is a freak of nature
is,
right now.
You get a lot of people that retire from the military, but there's a lot of people, too, that, have stayed in the military, and they've, been promoted to, captain, sergeant, first sergeant, second sergeant, whatever, that could, just obliterate people. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy thing. And it's the people, in my opinion, that have started life as an officer that don't really... they can command, but they don't necessarily have the ability to fight anymore. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, but... once you... I don't know much about the military when it comes to that because I was never in the military. But it seems to me once you get promoted to a certain stature... You're so worried about the politics of being in the military and so worried about...
The politics fuck everything up.
Well, and so worried about the paperwork and just the mental side of it. They don't have time to even practice the physical side, the physical combatant that they're trained in. If they were allowed, an hour a day, which was a part of their day where they had to train for that hour a day, I think they'd be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
They'd be perfectly fine because most of those guys probably want to stay fit, stay active, but they're lucky enough if they get time at the end of the day to take a 20-minute jog before they have to choose between a 20-minute jog or just taking a shower and passing the fuck out.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to get 4 hours of sleep or 4.5 hours of sleep tonight.
The Marine Corps still has gladiator fights in basic training.
Really?
They have a pit that has logs all the way around it with sand in it, and 2 guys will get in. The winner takes on the next guy.
Oh, it's a Shark Tank.
Yeah, so basically you just keep going until there's nobody left.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I shouldn't say Shark Tank. When I was on wrestling, Shark Tank was when one guy, if he had a match coming up, but the coach was a little worried about who he was wrestling or just him wrestling in general.
Yeah.
That we would have a practice round called a Shark Tank, which was something like either 12 or 15 minutes straight of
round robin shit.
No, it was 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let's just say 1, 2, and 3. Wrestlers 1 and 2 would wrestle. Wrestlers 2 and 3 would wrestle. Wrestlers 1 and 2 would wrestle. 2 and 3 would wrestle.
Gotcha.
1 and 2. So number 2 was in the tank, so
Right.
he had to keep wrestling, and it didn't matter if he was getting pinned. It didn't matter if he was pinning. Like, he was the one wrestling. He didn't get a break. As soon as he got the pin or was pinned, the next match would start immediately.
Gotcha.
And so it was a long time just straight. And I've been put in the Shark Tank a couple times.
Right.
And it sucks. But fortunately for me, when I was in the Shark Tank, because we didn't have anybody in my weight class other than myself, I would have to wrestle somebody in a lower weight class and one person in a higher weight class. Now, the person in the lower weight class was kind of
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I had
But
almost 10 pounds on the kid, and I mean, I had more wrestling experience, and so for that, it was me helping him out as much as he was helping me out. And then the kid that was a weight class ahead of me, he was actually my junior year. When we became seniors, I didn't wrestle.
right.
He was my best friend. He actually was the team captain his senior year.
Gotcha.
So he was good. I actually loved wrestling with him because he made me better. And now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't the best wrestler by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. Just in case there's anybody out there that's listening that I was on the wrestling team with, I'm not making up any stories. I was a crap wrestler when you really think about it. But I didn't give up.
Right.
I wanted to be better than I was.
And that's what you have to do is, I mean, no matter what you do, just don't give up.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you absolutely know it's not for you anymore, then by all means find something else. You know.
Well, that's actually what I was gonna bring up. I was gonna talk about recently. There was a fight, and it was held by Golden Boy Fighting. Yeah, bet you never heard of them.
Stay gold, pony boy.
Yeah, no, it's a really shitty come-up-its fighting circuit. Evidently, I've never heard of them up
I
until
think
this.
maybe we should wait on that one because we're already pretty close. Before we close this thing out, we got one question from Jess Thames again.
Hey,
She's cool. She bought a shirt.
Go
buy shirts. Do
Jess
things.
Thames,
Buy shirts.
Jess Thames, let us know if you want a Waffle Stomp T-shirt. Just let us know. I mean, we're not saying we're just gonna give you one, but let us know if that'd be something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, because I'm very disappointed. We get questions from a few people, but some of them just don't really do much for me. But Jess has asked a few good questions.
Oh yeah,
and also the people that are in Iceland and New Zealand
how much of a dick would you feel like if you keep calling her her and it turns out to be a guy?
I know it's a her. Apparently she got assaulted on a call, so that's shitty. So she's been out of work.
Oh, no shit. I hope you feel better. Well, I mean, I hope you're getting better.
Right.
I'm gonna stop talking now.
Broke a rib or bruised a rib or
Jesus
something
Christ,
like
that dude's a dick.
Psych patients suck, dude. I have never understood why the police department takes handcuffs off of a psych patient that's obviously aggressive and throws him in the back of an ambulance where I have nothing to do. I just sit there and try to get him to the hospital.
For the best, yeah. It's like, yeah, what are we gonna do? Pull over and be like, hey.
Oh, I have literally slammed an ambulance into park, jumped through the galley to the back where my partner was getting their ass kicked, and just tackled this dude into the back of the ambulance. And threw the doors open so the police car following us could actually tase this dude. They wanted to pepper spray, and I'm like, if you fucking throw pepper spray in here, then I've got to deal with it. Tase the motherfucker. Stop.
Jesus
Christ. So Jess Thames asked this question. She wants to wine and dine her boyfriend. So what she wants to do is,
I'm not romantic. I don't know if this is a good question for me. I know that because my wife has told me.
She wonders if it is okay for her to rent a limousine, buy flowers, and get a nice dinner, like reservations at a nice restaurant for her boyfriend.
Okay, do you want me to give my answer and then give your answer?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. Miss Thames, I think that is an awesome idea. No, there really is, because in the day and age we live in, where everyone's trying to be all politically correct or anything like that, everyone tries to think about like, oh, well, what's politically correct, what's not, like, but this has nothing to do with that. This is literally where you are just trying to show your loved one how much they mean to you. There would be no difference between you doing it or him doing it. Like, I think this is an awesome idea. To get the limo, the what'd you say, flowers?
Yeah, flowers, dinner.
The flowers, dinner. I think that's kick ass. Like, that really is, and it really does take somebody who is, well, basically a strong individual to be like, you know what? I'm gonna step outside of the social norms and all that crap and go ahead and do it.
Well,
and yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's an awesome idea.
I agree with it. Like, it makes. I think anybody, if somebody was going to do that, it just depends on the person, though. Like, it depends on the other person involved.
Well, I mean, I don't think she'd have the idea at all if she thought it would be a bad idea. If she thought she was going to hurt her,
I think
significant grandmother's ego
when
or
she,
something like that.
I think when she asked me, I think she said it was going to be a surprise. I don't know. My internet's down right now, so I can't double check. So I apologize if I get this wrong.
Hopefully he's not a fan of the show, because we're completely ruining it for you, dude.
This was sent. Last week, so it's question answered probably post date. So Jess, if you did this, let us know. But my outlook on it is, I've got two sides of this, and I don't know if either one are going to be popular. Is number one, I've always got this mentality of, I'm the guy that's got to do stuff for whoever I'm dating. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my personality. So, I mean, I would assume that you would know his personality enough to know that it's not going to be an issue. It's not going to be, like, weird for him or whatever.
Right.
But then again, I'm also that guy that I've been around long enough that I'm very frugal when it comes to things. So, the other side of it is, I wouldn't rent a limo because I'm like, why the fuck would you? I've got a car. We could just take the car, whatever. Come on.
Now, me being married,
yeah,
and I will say that personally, I would love the gesture of it. I'm the same way, where on the inside be like, I think we could have just taken the car, but at the same time, at least now they both have the experience of being in a limo.
True. I mean,
because you never know. Like, maybe they didn't have one at prom. Maybe they didn't know each other at prom. Maybe even if they did or didn't, they still didn't have one or did have one.
Right. Yeah.
But at least now, definitely they know, hey, we have the experience of riding in a limo, and that's cool.
You know what? Fuck the limo. Get a party bus. You're adults. You can drink in a party bus. Shit.
You can drink in a limo too, and you don't got to worry about some stranger throwing up on your shoes. But yeah, on top of that, I mean, that way your boyfriend or girlfriend, I don't know what's going on at this point. But
I don't know what to do with my hands.
No, your significant other. I'm just gonna say boyfriend. Your boyfriend then has the experience of, hey, my old lady got me flowers, which is cool. Because, right. I mean, I don't know if I would particularly enjoy flowers. Like, my wife bought me flowers, but I like tools. So,
right, exactly.
She bought me a bouquet of wrenches.
Exactly.
I mean, that would be fucking awesome. I'm like, are they metric or standard? But, I mean, overall, I think the gesture of this whole thing is really cool, because just saying, a lot of guys feel like it is their responsibility, and sometimes they stress over it.
Yeah.
Doing things for
and
their wife.
I assume it's going to be like some sort of a special occasion that she's doing it for anyway. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, it could. I think it's an awesome idea.
I actually did ask her about this, and she said that among her coworkers, which is a mostly male workplace, they were split 50-50 too. So yeah, it is what it is. Do what you feel like you want to do. Do what you feel like. I assume it's not going to make him uncomfortable. I assume you know this person well enough to know that it's not going to make them feel uncomfortable. So fucking do it. Who cares? Right?
Yeah.
So, but I will admit, as a car guy, when I went to prom, I didn't try to rent a limo or anything like that because I already spent so much money like working on my car. I was like, taking my fucking car.
I went to 4 proms.
Well, you lucky little bastard.
Oh no. No. Dude, okay, here's the thing about me real quick. I didn't even get married in a tux.
Okay, all right.
I don't do
I went to prom in
dress up.
Chucks, dude.
I don't do dress up.
Chuck Taylor's.
I dressed up for all 4 of those proms. The last prom I went to was actually my wife now.
Right.
So that's cool. And I did dress up for that one. But yeah. No.
All right. Well, we got to wrap this thing up, man. We're getting holy shit. We're getting really deep in the weeds in this. We've got more things we can talk about soon, so that's good. We thank you all for listening to us. We're glad that you like us enough to continue coming back to us. Between me and Clyde here, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, go if you have questions for us, get a hold of us on email at 107offduty@gmail.com, or you can get a hold of us on Facebook and Twitter at 10-7offduty. Also, again, go buy our shirts so that way we can get more things. Go buy our shirts so we can get more things, do things. Go get a hold of us on Patreon, patreon.com/107offduty, and you can get the extra content that you didn't get on this one because we always talk a little bit before. Stop. We always talk a little bit before, so that'll be on Patreon exclusives. I've got to get to editing some of those for you guys. Also, medicelement.com. Make sure you go check those guys out. They're really cool. They have... I'm going to throw things at you. Medic Element. They've got... cool t-shirts, sweatshirts, morale patches, stickers. Use the code MEDIC18 for buy one, get one free on stickers. They're really awesome. So go check them out. Also, if you want to be caffeinated like we are, go to blackriflecoffee.com and use the code 107offduty for 15% off your purchase.
And I will keep pushing silencer. Seriously, get it.
I actually just made a pot of the AK-47 today, and I'm impressed. I like it. That's the espresso mix. It's good. I like it.
Don't you actually have an espresso maker?
I do, but time consuming. You know?
So you just made a regular pot?
Yep. I'm just too busy to fuck with the espresso maker. But thank you guys. Again, get a hold of us on Facebook, Twitter. Message us on email if you want shirts or have questions. Thank you guys. Love you.
Bye.